Hello, Wealth Tycoons. We are sure you would have heard of Rockstar Games before. This name comes up a lot in video games, sometimes in a good way, and sometimes not so much. Their big games include Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption, and each new game they release changes the whole gaming world. Some of the time they even cause trouble, but they always make people curious about what they are offering. Have you heard about the GTA 5 game? Well, that's a strange question because who hasn't? You will be amazed to know that people bought more than 200 million copies of this game. There is only one game that has ever sold more copies than this one. People love this game so much that the game has made more money than most movies, books, and records. Can you believe it? Well, you have no other choice. Talking about recent times, people are very excited about GTA 6. All of us have been waiting for this game for more than 10 years. That's a long time, right? Still, fans are forgiving and excited. People are super excited about this game launch event. Looking at the excitement, the world can see this is going to be a huge event. The present is super excited for this company's growth, but how they reached here? To know that, we will have to go back in time. Rockstar came into existence about 30 years ago. Wow, that's 3 decades when two boys wanted to do something in which heavy technical skills are not required, where coding is not the backbone. They didn't know how to make games at all, but they wanted to be part of this world. They wanted to just get in. When they were born in London in the early 1970s, their parents were already exceptionally cool. Well-known artists hung out at their dad's jazz club, which was very popular. Their mom was an exceptional actor in crime movies. Hauser brothers have repeatedly said that their house was like living in the middle of a movie set when they were kids. Because their mom played parts in movies, both boys became really interested in crime stories. As a child, Sam was asked by a friend of his dad what he wanted to be when he grew up. Sam did not blink. That's exactly what he said. A bank robber. Even though it didn't happen, it shows how much their surroundings impacted their mindset. As the boys got older, they became interested in different things. Dan the younger liked reading and wanted to write books. Sam, on the other hand, became crazy about video games. It was easy to play games back then because they had a set plan you had to follow. He did, however, find a game called Elite that let you do whatever you pleased in space. He faked being a space thief for hours, robbing ships that were running away from danger. He did more than just play it. He lived it. He enjoyed video games for more reasons than one. They made me feel like I was in a different world. His parents always got him the newest game machines because they knew how much he loved games. Back in 1989, when Sam turned 18, his dad gave him a different kind of gift, a trip to New York City. That trip changed everything. Sam loved New York. Despite the mess, noise, speed, and chaos, he loved it all. That raw energy drew him in. He met a record company official at BMG with his dad while they were there. Sam went on and on about how out of touch the guy was with today's culture. The person told Sam's dad after lunch, "Your son is crazy, but he has great ideas." Sam got his first job because of his weird energy. Sam went back to London and started working at BMG while he was in college. He didn't just come in and leave, he did everything he could. Soon, the most important people at BMG began to notice him. BMG thought about making movies in the early 1990s, but decided it was too risky. They instead chose a safer bet, that is, a way to video games. As a result, they started BMG Interactive in 1994 as a new division to handle publishing games. Sam did not hesitate to accept the job. He didn't know much about how games were made and didn't care that he was paid very little. During the whole process, he took part. Numerous games did not work. In some cases, though, one did fine. Within 2 years, Sam was promoted to head of development. Now he just needed one big hit to change the way games are played forever. A company in Scotland called DMA Design called a guy named Sam on the phone in 1996. They needed to find a developer to help them get their game, Race and Chase, out there. It was a cool idea for a game. It was a big city where players could drive around, chase bad guys, and do police work. It was a living, breathing city, according to DMA, but the game was pretty dull. DMA wanted to make it look very real. Since you were the cops, you had to follow all the rules. You couldn't speed or break any other traffic laws. Feeling-wise, it was more like a driving test simulator than a fun game. So Sam came up with some crazy ideas to make things more interesting. He suggested, what if you didn't have to stop at red lights? How about breaking the law, going too fast and driving on sidewalks? Later, he asked, what if you weren't the cop at all? So what if you were the bad guy? Could you steal cars, hit people on the street, and even fight the police? Suddenly, Race and Chase was something totally different and a lot more fun. Sam came up with the name Grand Theft Auto because the old one didn't work anymore. Each and everyone at DMA liked this new version of the game, including Sam. When this happened, Sam's brother Dan also got curious and joined the group. Dan was done with his literature degree at Oxford, and he thought video games were a cool new way to tell stories because, unlike movies and books, games let people enter their world. Sam and Dan both like gangster movies and pop culture for obvious reasons, so they made GTA full of movie references, edgier music, and crazy fun. On purpose, they knew people would talk about it and maybe even complain. GTA was already in the news before it even came out. Soon after the release, The Guardian said, the most controversial game in a decade, and even leaders in the UK were freaking out. But the real question was whether or not people would like it. After a lot of discussions, GTA was released on November 28, 1997. It was the first Grand Theft Auto game. Once the game was released, some people didn't like the hard-to-use tools or the old-school top-down graphics, but some people couldn't stop playing. People loved being free and having a lot of fun. The game didn't sell very well at first, but each week it became more famous, which was an amazing development. However, the truth is that things were not going well behind the scenes. Dan and Sam were about to lose their job because of all the negative comments that GTA got. BMG Interactive was having trouble with the company that made GTA. It was clear that their bosses didn't understand video games. They just wanted people to like their product and become their followers as soon as the product came out. However, they had made some bad business decisions, like opening 27 new offices around the world for no reason. That's why they chose to sell their game business. Take-Two. Interactive bought BMG Interactive for $14.2 million in 1998, a company from New York. That is when things began to change extremely. Take-Two also made games, but their games were better for the whole family. With his connection to Take-Two's CEO, Sam saw this as a chance to create something new. The team didn't just work for Take-Two, they spun off their own business and gave it a new name. That is when Rockstar Games came to life. On the other hand, Sam was promoted, and then he started working for Take-Two as Vice President of Worldwide Product Development. The people who made GTA, DMA Design, were still legally a separate business, but that changed in 1999. Take-Two bought them for $11 million and changed their name to Rockstar North. The Hauser brothers were ready to take things to the next level now that Rockstar was in charge of both making and selling GTA. They promised to follow through with their plan. Their only goal was to make games that they themselves would love to play, not what other gaming businesses released to please their audience. Let me take a break and inform you that we have created an ebook for the top 100 businesses that you can start this year, and we will give away this ebook for free. Just comment on our video and I will share the link to download it. Let's get back to the video. Then the GTA verse started breathing because its creators believed in it. Rockstar Games released GTA 2 on October 22, 1999. It was a bit better than the first GTA, but most people didn't think it was that great. Most reviewers felt that it wasn't great. One big reason for this was that DMA Design, the company that made it, didn't have much time to improve it. Because Take-Two Interactive, their producer, gave them a very short time frame, the graphics still looked old, just like in the first game. Storylines and character in games like Metal Gear Solid were great in GTA 1, but GTA 2 didn't have any of that. People played as a voiceless figure in Anywhere City, a strange city. There was no real story or point to what you were doing. Still, it had the same fun parts: stealing cars, beating gangs, escaping police, and running over people on the street. Even though GTA 2 was not anywhere close to perfect, yet people started liking it for its rawness. The second GTA game, Grand Theft Auto 2, sold over 2 million copies, which is twice as many as the first game. Of course, Rockstar and Take-Two then decided to make a sequel, but they wanted to make it much bigger this time, when GTA's sequel was in talks. The PlayStation 2 was about to come out around that time, which gave game designers more tools to make better games. It was easier for them to focus now that DMA Design was Rockstar North. As a result, Sam and Dan Houser, the brothers who made Rockstar, had a great idea. Instead of making one game, they would make 3 GTA games, each set in a different US city. New York was the setting for GTA 3's Liberty City. Next was Vice City, which is based in Miami. The third was San Andreas, which was based in California. It was time to expand Rockstar Games. That is when they opened a new office in New York City, so they found it as a great time to start with GTA 3. With the new PlayStation, they could finally make a 3D world that looked real. The story, not the images, was what made the game different. Finally, this version was not chaos. The story was complete. The story begins with your character's girlfriend betraying him during a heist. He gets away while being taken to jail because of an event. Following that, the game is all about him rising through the criminal world and getting even to get payback. You feel like you're in a violent gangster movie. The Houser brothers tried to make GTA 3 feel like a playable gangster movie. The story was written by Dan Houser. There were some obvious plot holes, but they were meant to be there. The style, the plot, and the characters were all based on crime movies and TV shows they watched as kids. One more cool thing that GTA 3 offered its audience is the radio and TV. As you drive, you can change stations that play funny talk shows and famous songs. It felt like regular life. Everything in the game was breathing. Things went completely crazy after that. GTA 3 wasn't just brutal, it broke all the rules that you could name. In this game, a player can hire sex workers and then run them over to get their money back. Shocking, yes. But everything that cannot be done in the real world was possible in this game. So basically, GTA invited a huge backlash. Just like movies, games in the US have ratings. E for everyone, T for teen, M for mature, and AO for adults only. Rockstar wanted an M rating. For their game, there was a real chance that it could be rated AO because of all the graphic content. That would not have worked out because Walmart and other shops would not have sold AO games. Just when Rockstar thought things were getting bad, even worse things took place. On September 11th, Samantha Houser saw the Twin Towers fall from the window of his New York apartment. It was terrible. It was like GTA 3 coming to life. The city it took place in looked a lot like New York. Rockstar really thought about scrapping the whole game with only a few weeks to go. After what had happened, the brothers were sure it was not the right time to release such a violent game. But then they realized something. GTA 3 was really a love letter to New York, even though it was rough and full of crime. So they didn't give up. Instead, they changed things. They took down the Twin Towers and a bunch of planes, and the violence was lowered. After all, these changes helped them get that M grade. This didn't change how popular GTA 3 was when it came out. Concerns were raised about the sexual content and violence. Some governments were angry, and Australia even banned the game because parents didn't like it. However, GTA 3 was a huge success. People really liked it. The players kept talking about it. Within a year, the game made over $400 million, making it the best-selling PS2 game of all time. More than 14 million copies of this game were sold. Before GTA 3, people believed that video games were mainly for geeks and little kids. This game changed people's perceptions completely. All of a sudden, computer games became cool, and a lot of people started playing these games. "We wanted to prove that games didn't have to be about hobgoblins and dwarves," said one Rockstar producer, and that's exactly what they did. Oh, and Rockstar had 2 other big hits coming out at the same time. As a result, Take-Two, the parent company of Rockstar, saw their stock price triple in the months after GTA 3 came out. It really happened. Then the question arose, how could they beat this? They had a plan for this. Vice City would be the second game in the series. It would take place in Miami in the 1980s, which the Hauser brothers called the Golden Age of Crime. There would be neon lights, palm trees, drug lords, and fancy cars. At that time, $5 million was a lot of money, but since the game engine from GTA 3 was already great, they could focus on making everything better, even the little things. Most games had boring colors to save space, but Vice City was full of bright colors that made you feel like you were back in the 1980s. The story was also a lot better. Dan was writing better than ever. He was highly influenced by Scarface and Miami Vice when he wrote this story about power, betrayal, and revenge. Voice artists from Hollywood movies like Ray Liotta and Burt Reynolds were hired by Rockstar to make the world feel even more real. If you are enjoying the video so far, it will be kind of you to give this video a like. Your one like can keep us motivated to keep posting such well-researched videos. Let's get back to the topic. Not only that, but they also wrote 900 pages of conversation for radio stations and random people on the street. So the city felt alive even when you weren't on a task. There was a huge response when Vice City came out in October 2002. 1.4 million versions of the game were sold in just 2 days, making it the fastest-selling game ever at the time. Eventually, it sold more copies than GTA 3 and brought Take-Two's overall earnings to over $1 billion. Rockstar wasn't just a cool game business anymore. That name was now the most exciting in the whole gaming world. The problems didn't go away, of course. During one task, the player was told to kill all the Haitians. This made a lot of people angry. Some Haitian American groups spoke out against the game, and a spokesman for the president of Haiti even called it racist and psychologically dangerous. It got so bad that Rockstar was sued for hundreds of millions of dollars and had to make updates to get rid of those lines. It was a difficult time for Rockstar. The Hauser brothers were busy making their next game, which would be even bigger, crazier, and more controversial than the ones they had already made. Things were about to get way more difficult. Let's talk about Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, and the hot coffee incident, which is one of the biggest video game stories ever. There was a lot going on, and it's honestly both funny and serious at the same time. At that time, Rockstar Games' Grand Theft Auto series was already very popular. San Andreas was going to be their best game soon. They wanted to make more than just a fun open-world game. They wanted to bring the world to life. It was crazy on the map. Along with real Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Las Vegas, it was a big fake state. Driving through deserts, towns, and the countryside felt like playing 3 games at once. There were more characters, tasks, and things to do. Also, that meant more of the crazy, offensive things Rockstar was known for. It was about a black man called CJ from Los Santos, who was like Los Angeles in their world, who goes back home during the worst gang violence in the early 1990s. Some people might say that Rockstar played on stereotypes, which made them a little worried, but the author, Dan Hauser, worked hard on the story. He was not making fun of anyone. That story was one of the most profound ones they had ever written, but they were aware that it might cause trouble. In reality, though, what caused all the chaos? It was sexual elements in that game. Dan Hauser's brother, Sam, who is one of the best people at Rockstar, was really mad that video games were not treated like movies. You could show sex and being naked in movies, give them an R grade, and that was it. That same stuff got you an adults-only rating in games. It would also mean that big shops like Walmart wouldn't sell your game. That would be awful for Rockstar. Sam came up with this plan. He was looking to make the system a little less safe. Players in San Andreas could go out with 6 different women. You could expect a coffee invitation from the girlfriend if everything went well. Once upon a time, the screen would fade out or show the outside of the house, and sounds would play. Rockstar, on the other hand, made a secret minigame where you could see the sex scenes that were not edited at all. Rockstar didn't want to lose sales by getting the adults-only rating, which is where things got tricky. So, before the game came out, they asked the ESRB which rates games if the game could still be rated mature with that minigame in it. The community refused to do so. Adults only would be put on the game if the scenes were in it, even if they were hidden. Sam was really mad. Nevertheless, he understood that the game needed to sell. As the release date got closer, he told the writers to get rid of the sex minigame, but it wasn't easy to get rid of it completely. That part of the game was pretty much finished, and taking out large chunks of code could lead to a lot of different bugs. So the coders hid it instead of getting rid of it. Wrapping is a trick they use to hide or make impossible to reach parts of the code while the game was being played normally. Every player knew that when CJ went into the house, the camera outside would shake, and that was it. Hidden away in the game's code, though, was the whole minigame. The hugely popular game came out in October 2004. The game was a blockbuster. After selling over 27 million copies, it was the most popular PlayStation 2 game of all time. Again, Rockstar did it. Things really start to change now. When the PC version came out a year later, modders, that's people who change things in game files, started showing an interest. After messing around with the code, they found the secret sex minigame. Someone quickly unlocked it and made it a mod that could be used. This mod was named Hot Coffee because CJ's girlfriends would ask him over for coffee. Suddenly, scenes that were supposed to be private were all over the internet. After downloading the mod, players could see CJ having sex with his women in a graphic way. The updated version that was the real version spread around like fire. Instead of admitting that Rockstars made this bit and hid it before, they said the modders had made up the scenes. However, the ESRB did not believe. Once they looked into it, they found that the material was already in all copies of the game. The mod only brought it to light. Now it was time for a scandal. The parents were furious. Politicians were very angry. In this case, Senator Hillary Clinton pushed for a rule to restrict what can be shown in video games. She stated that games like San Andreas were making kids bad. It was a great day for the journalists. At that time, it caused the most debate in the history of video games. The game is now only for adults, according to the ESRB. It was taken off the shelves right away by big stores like Walmart. Australia did not allow the game at all. Many copies of the game had to be taken back by Rockstar so that the code could be fixed. The game was then re-released without the minigame at all. The Rockstar Games lost about $25 million on that. It didn't end there. It was 13% less expensive to buy stock in Take-Two Interactive, the company that bought Rockstar. People started saying bad things about other Rockstar games too, like Bully, The Warriors, and GTA spin-offs. It was easy to find the bad news. Take-Two lost around $186 million by the end of 2006 as a repercussion of this scandal. Things kept going wrong. Their ads were false, so the city of Los Angeles sued them. An investigation into possible crimes was started by the Manhattan District Attorney. People protested in front of Rockstar's offices. Hundreds of claims were filed. Along with the 5 co-founders, 3 quit within a year. Eventually, only Sam and Dan Houser were left to face it all. There was a lot of damage done, and it cost a lot of money and time. However, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas was still a great game. Even with all the trouble, it was still one of the most popular and well-liked games ever. App builders still wanted to work with them because the brand was strong. Therefore, Sam and Dan had a chance to start over after the scandal, the cases, and the political drama. You already knew they weren't going to play it safe. Actually, no. They were making plans for something even bigger beforehand. When the GTA trilogy came out, it made them famous all over the world, and even a little infamous. They became known for making games that weren't afraid to break the rules, and the games were big. That being said, GTA was only a small part of a much bigger picture at the time. Then appeared a big twist in GTA's brother's story. Sam and Dan didn't own Rockstar Games, but Take-Two Interactive did. It was published by Take-Two. They didn't make the games, they just put them out there. The real magic happened at Rockstar. Sam and Dan built something really cool there. They started Rockstar and bought other companies to make it bigger over time. In addition to GTA, Bully, Manhunt, Midnight Club, Max Payne, and other games were made by companies within Rockstar. As an example, Angel Studios was a small company. Finally, they changed their name to Rockstar San Diego. Their work included making a Western game called Red Dead Revolver. When the game first came out, it wasn't a big hit, but strangely, it ended up saving Rockstar from a big problem. Renderware was the name of Rockstar's most popular game engine, which was used in games like GTA. This system helped them make the world of the game look good and work well. Things took a big turn in 2004, though. The big game company EA bought the company that made Renderware. Rockstar and EA were rivals, so EA wouldn't let Rockstar use it longer. This could have gone horribly wrong. Rockstar couldn't make games without a game engine. Then Red Dead Revolver comes in. Rockstar San Diego had been working on their own game engine in secret. As it turned out, Red Dead Revolver used that engine. It didn't do well at first, but it kept Rockstar from having a big problem. Rockstar did not worry about this. Instead, they saw it as a chance to make something better. Before the release of GTA San Andreas, Sam Houser told the team in San Diego they could work on their system to make it stronger. The PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 were about to come out, so this was the right time. The new systems were much better than the old ones, and Rockstar needed an engine that could handle games for the next generation. Then they started making the Rockstar Advanced Game Engine, or RAGE. After that, all Rockstar games were built around Rage. Rockstar was able to make huge, complex worlds with better graphics, smoother gameplay, and more realistic physics. Things were about to change for Grand Theft Auto 4, the next big game in the series. It was being worked on by Rockstar North, who had a huge job to do. Around $100 million was set aside to make GTA 4. But Sam and Dan didn't want to waste the money. They had a dream. Their goal was to take the GTA recipe to its very core and make it perfect. As usual, they set the game in Liberty City, which was based in New York City. They wanted more than just a fun game. They wanted the city to feel real. They looked at the city's architecture, how traffic moved, the racial mix of neighborhoods, and even the sewer systems. Every little thing was important. True-to-life settings were made possible by Rage's power and the arrival of new platforms. With HD graphics, realistic physics, and complicated 3D maps, Rockstar could now make worlds with more details. But it wasn't just the pictures. Also, they tried to tell a more complex story. It was important to Dan Houser that the stories were more real and emotional. GTA 4 was different from the others because it was about a man named Niko Bellic who had a difficult past and wanted to start over in the United States. Niko found out that the American dream wasn't what it seemed like. He fought with the decisions he made and the harsh truths of life. This show took a big step forward by telling a story with real feelings. The release of Grand Theft Auto 4 in 2008 was a big deal. The game sold over $310 million in just one day, thanks to great reviews. It has been called the best game in the series by many, even though it has sold over 28 million copies. It was art, not just a game. Few other game companies had been able to do what Rockstar did, make a video game into an event that people would talk about for years to come. But Sam and Dan still had more to do. Red Dead Redemption came out in 2010 from Rockstar. The team from San Diego made this game. It took place in the Wild West instead of a big city like Liberty City. You played a character who was in trouble with the cops, which was a lot like GTA, but the story had its own twist. Over 23 million versions of Red Dead Redemption were sold, and the game's story and gameplay won a lot of awards. It showed that Rockstar wasn't just the company that made Grand Theft Auto, they could also make great games in other genres. Making these games cost more and took longer. The making of GTA 4 took 7 years and cost $100 million. $90 million in 5 years went into making Red Dead Redemption. When Rockstar began making GTA 5, it was clear that the next game would be even bigger and cost even more. It was said to cost $265 million and have thousands of people working on it. That's when Rockstar did something smart. Instead of putting off making another game for years, they chose to focus on GTA 5's online mode to keep the money coming in. A lot of money was spent to make the online experience great, and small purchases were added so they could still make money after the game came out. When GTA 5 finally came out in 2013, it was a huge hit. An amazing 205 million copies were sold. making it one of the most popular games ever. And because GTA Online kept people going back for more, Rockstar made more than $8.6 billion from the game. This is more than just a game. It's a movement. Everyone asked the same thing after GTA 5 became a worldwide hit. Seriously, GTA 5 was everywhere. It sold a lot of copies, broke records, and people were still playing it years later. Because of this, everyone was looking at the Hauser brothers, who were the ones who planned it all. Red Dead Redemption 2 was then taken down by Rockstar in 2018. And wow, it was even better than we thought. This wasn't just another Western game. Amazing work. Actually, it felt like the world was real. The details on every tree, animal, and town were amazing. While riding your horse through snowy mountains, you could stop to hunt, help people, or just enjoy the view. It was very much there. It showed how a man named Arthur Morgan struggled and how the Wild West came to an end. Some readers felt like they knew the characters as well as they did real people. They really liked it. The players were shocked. They did it again. Rockstar raised the bar for the whole gaming business, and the numbers showed it was true. Extraordinary Red Dead Redemption 2 sold over 67 million units. Therefore, it is the 6th most popular game ever. Even better, there aren't that many games in the Red Dead series. Even with only a few titles, it was a huge hit, quite uncommon. The big question, what about GTA 6? Itorizanchi was asked again after the dust cleared. GTA 5 was first released on the PS3 and Xbox 360, but it still holds up today. That shows how far ahead of its time it was. Later, Red Dead 2 showed us what Rockstar could do with PS4 and Xbox One technology that was better. Fans are eagerly waiting for Rockstar to reveal their next GTA project, now that the PS5 and Xbox Series X are available. Fans looked all over the internet for secrets, leaks, and small hints for years. A lot of people said different things, but Rockstar dealt in nothing but silence. Unfortunately, bad news came next. Author and one of Rockstar's leaders, Dan Houser, took a break right after Red Dead 2 came out. Then he left and never came back. When 2020 came around, it was official. He quit Rockstar. He is said to have been burned out from years of hard work, which included weeks with 100 hours of work. Slightly rough. The thing is, Dan left after 7 years of work on GTA 6 not being finished. That's okay, his artistic touch is still all over this one. Then a big thing happened. In December 2023, Rockstar finally released GTA 6's first official video. Within one day, more than 90 million people watched the video. Online videos without music got more views than any other video on YouTube in 24 hours. The whole world showed how much they were waiting for GTA 6. There are rumors that Rockstar Games have invested their everything in this version. Reports say that GTA 6 could cost more than $2 billion, which includes the money spent on making the game and advertising it. To give you an idea of how much that is, GTA 5 cost about $265 million to make. That means this is more than 7 times that, even if you add up how much Star Citizen, Genshin Impact, and Cyberpunk 2077 cost to make, GTA 6 would still be cheaper. Talking about this new game, the story takes place in Miami in the present day. It's kind of like Vice City, but a lot more realistic and full of details. Plus, there will be 2 main characters in the game, and one of them is a woman. She is the first available female lead in GTA history. People were curious about GTA 6, but it turned out to be the most disappointing one, because GTA 6 has lost its touch. The violence and the originality of the game are gone. It has been replaced by new kinds of characters that define the new and the trending woke culture. But the GTA cult fans did not like this change. GTA was an escape from the real world, where they can do whatever they want. But with GTA 6, the makers made the real world part of the game, with all the rules and regulations followed in the real world. But fans love GTA so much that are ready to give GTA 7 a chance. What do you think? Will GTA be able to make a strong comeback? Share your views in the comments section below. If you want us to cover any particular topic, leave it in the comment section and we will take it from there. Till then, you can check out our already existing gem of the videos.